Welcome back here on Jock 98.7. I'm Nate Lucas, and pleased to be joined on the line by the newest member of the SBU coaching staff, new head coach for the softball program, Chad Kerr. Chad, thanks for your time this morning, and tell us, how did this all come about?
Well, thank you very much. Well, it just kind of happened, to be honest with you. I've been coaching for a long time, very familiar with the area. I had 3 years previous at Lincoln University. Took a year off from coaching and then spent the last year out at Oklahoma Panhandle State. Wonderful place, championship caliber team, but this came available and they contacted me, and I really believe in what we can do here at this university in regards to the softball program. Great education, and it's 2 hours away from our kids, which are still in central Missouri, our 3 adult children. So that was very appealing versus being 10 hours away.
Yeah, last year at Oklahoma Panhandle State University, so the head coach there, you guys had some success, but what was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was great. It was a very tough decision to leave Oklahoma Panhandle State. I know the COVID shortened season, we had a losing record, but we played a very front end heavy schedule, a lot of ranked opponents, Division II schools. Oklahoma Panhandle State was an NAIA institution. So we were going to win 30-35 games last year and hopefully make a run in the conference tournament. So whoever inherits that program is going to inherit a championship ready program. Coming here, Southwest Baptist is very solid. We got to do some things, change some things, but with my recruiting ability, I'm 100% confident. Good group of girls returning, some good freshmen and JUCO transfers coming in. Should be an exciting year for SBU softball.
And some familiarity against coaching against the Bearcats during your time with the Lincoln Blue Tigers up in Jeff City.
Oh, yes. Coached against them when we were both in the MIAA conference. They are, SBU now, of course, is in the GLVC. Obviously friends with, all the local coaches around here, the Division II coaches in the MIAA. I'm friends with most of the GLVC coaches. So, that's what I told the AD, during the process. I was like, when my hire is announced, people aren't going to be like, well, who? They're gonna know who I am. So I'm just excited to be back in the area and good things to come here.
Isn't it wild how small, the fraternity is, if you will? We think of all these programs nationally, but really when you kind of decide on a region and how tight-knit it all is, depending on schools and conferences and divisions, it's more close-knit than most people realize, I think.
It really is. The world is a small place if you look at it that way. But you narrow it down to the softball community. Have a good following on social media, and I treat the kids right. We have fun. We work hard. I want to win. But yes, very, very close knit. As coaches, we in the area, we all work together. We're competing, but we work together and discuss recruits and different things like that. So yes, very, very close knit community. It kind of freaks you out every once in a while, when people know you or what have you. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Chad Kerr is our guest here on Jock 98.7. He was recently announced as the new SBU head softball coach. So the ruling that the GLVC put out last week in regard to the decision of athletics for your schedule in the fall, only inter-squad games, correct?
Correct, yes. And it's kind of a relief because they were actually considering flip-flopping, moving football and volleyball and soccer and everything to the spring, which they ended up doing. And I feel for those sports, that's going to be unique for them. But they had talked about, sports like baseball and softball playing our championship season in the fall, which would have been kind of surreal to begin with. But with a new coach coming in, I need to bond with this team and get to know these girls, and which I've started that process. And we got new players on the team, to think that within 2 or 3 weeks of classes starting, we'd be playing our championship season that kept me awake at night a little bit. So we have our normal fall like we would any other fall, weights, conditioning, different things like that. We'll declare a non-championship season, which lasts 45 days. And that's where we can actually do softball related activity and training. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head, Nate. The only change is we can't, play in some little weekend friendlies against junior colleges or NAI schools or what have you. We just have to inter squad, which is fine with us. As a coaching staff, we can control that. And everybody's playing, so everybody's getting ample time to earn a spot in the spring, and so we're excited to get going.
And for most of the competition that you'll be facing, that is pretty standard. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of competition outside of inter squad for either baseball or softball moving forward here. At least this
year.
Yeah.
None in the fall. Yeah, that's not allowed. We can just inter squad is all that we can do, which is fine. At least we can do something. Now things can change. This whole COVID-19 thing is just kind of surreal, and decisions are being made every day based on current data. It's just a very fluid situation. So I'm just praying that we get a fall in, I get a chance to work with this team, and we get things figured out, and that we have for these young ladies' sake, we have a full season in the spring, because that was tough not only for my team at Oklahoma Panhandle State. I mean, every softball, baseball program around the nation, right at March 13th, March 12th, just boom, it was over with. So that was tough. That was very tough.
Chad Kerr is our guest here on the Jock, head softball coach at Southwest Baptist University. You played baseball at Truman State, so where did you kind of build your love for the game of softball?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. If my fraternity brothers and teammates back in college would have said, "Hey, you're going to end up being a college softball coach," I would have laughed them to death. But I have 3 wonderful children. My oldest, Kylie, my next daughter, Chelsea, and then I have a son, Kobe, who's golfing in college. But the girls both played college softball. We're all conference players. But when they started getting active, I got rooked into it, being a former athlete, and started coaching softball, and just found I really had a knack for coaching female athletes, and enjoyed coaching softball, and just kind of became addicted to it, and really got going at it down in our time in Texas at the 18U gold level. And from there, got my first coaching opportunity, and kind of bounced around a little bit, and here I am. I'm hoping this is long term. But softball's I kind of call it arena baseball. It's very powerful. It's packed in. It's fast. It's a really fun sport to watch, and these young ladies are very talented. And if the fans out there, if they know what these student athletes in all the sports, baseball, softball, football, these kids, it's hard enough to be a college student, academics and being away from home, and then you mix in all the time they put in athletics. These are some special young people that are in athletics, college athletics at all the levels, NCAA, NAIA, junior college. Come out and support them whenever you can, because they really work their tails off.
Hey, Coach, you can call me a baby if you want, but I'll tell you, I think about standing in the box against one of those good pitchers, humming that softball right past you. I mean, it gets home plate pretty quick now.
It does, and every once in a while, I'm 50 years old, so my brain still thinks I'm 21. So I try to. I'm blessed. I can demonstrate things pretty well. Pretty athletically doing well at this point. I may be a step slower than I was when
Aren't
I was
we
at
all?
Truman State, but yeah, I jump in the box every once in a while, and then the pitchers, that gets there quick, and then they mess with me on a changeup and stuff. But it's fun, they see that I'm human, and yeah, we played at Southwest Baptist because they were in they were both in the MIAA at the time. And I was reminded during this process, this is where I got my first career home run. was at Southwest Baptist University. One of my teammates reminded me of that after I was announced as the coach, and I didn't even think of that during the process. So kind of ironic I'm here.
Get out of town. That's a great story. Do you remember who you hit it off of?
I don't.
I'm sure he does.
And there's a little story about this home run and how I celebrated, which I wouldn't tolerate from my players today. And I'll definitely we can grab a soda and I'll talk to you off air about how that went down. We'll just leave it here as this is where I hit my first home run in college.
Fair
So.
enough, Coach. Chad Kerr is our guest, head softball coach at Southwest Baptist University. How does your philosophy with the game of softball align with the overall view of athletics and education at Southwest Baptist University?
Well, I think it aligns really well, and I think that's part of the reason that I connected so well with Mike Pitts, the AD here, and the search committee is that I want to win games, Nate, just like the next person. I'm competitive, but I want these young ladies to have an enjoyable experience, and then I'm not just coaching X's and Y's and the game swings and defense. I'm kind of a coach of life here, and we intermingle faith, we intermingle life lessons with athletics, and kind of wrap it all into one, and send these young ladies off after their 4 years here as very well-rounded individuals that should be set up to handle about anything that's thrown at them in life, because athletics is very tough, and it teaches you a lot of life lessons. So I don't just focus on the softball aspect of it. I will bring in something from a real life and tie the two together, and it's worked really well. I have really good relationships with the majority of my players from 10 years ago, and that's what means the most to me is they still text me or do something on Facebook or Twitter, and I contact them. A lot of them are married and have kids, and some are coaches, and they'll ask my advice. And that's the things that I will carry with me is the relationship beyond the 4 years that I have with these players. I tell freshmen when I'm recruiting them that this isn't a 4-year and done thing. This is going to be a lifelong relationship. I've helped a lot of kids get jobs, letters of recommendation for graduate school. While they're here, I'm a mechanic. I've changed car batteries, flat tires. I've done everything, but I treat them like they're my extended daughters. And I genuinely, I care more about these young ladies off the field than I do on the field, if that makes sense. I'm very protective of my players, and I think the majority of them sense that, and the parents as well. So
yeah, I'll just say this: in my experience with different SBU programs, the one, without question, the one thing that always comes right back to me is that it's about family. And I'm sure most programs in the nation abide by it, but I can only speak to the ones that I've seen literally up close and ridden the bus with, and that thing. And I'm telling you, that's just. Especially right now with all these student athletes. I mean, there's so much up in the air that nobody really even knows what's happening, and you need leadership, and certainly that is not only instilled from yourself but in your student athletes as well.
Oh yeah. We wait on decisions. My administration waits on decisions from the NCAA. Then they relay information to me, and then I'm still in the process of contacting the whole team. But we have a group text thing going, and I'm very transparent. I'm relaying as I know things. I want them to know things, because these young kids they're going through stuff right now that nobody's ever experienced. And last spring was a first for me. My team there was very understanding. A lot of them were very mad. I explained to them I didn't do the COVID thing, and maybe me and coaches around the nation could have handled things a little differently, but none of us had a little Rolodex. We could go back to the virus of 1998 and how did we handle that. This was just uncharted ground for everybody. So, but yeah, that's the theme I'm trying to extend here with this team is we've got to be a family and stick together. There's always going to be that week where things aren't going right, and that's where we got to even come closer together. Because if the claws come out, we start turning on each other, then the season's over with. And all indications are this is a group of young ladies that want to unite and be one and have fun and work hard and hold each other accountable, and could be some special stuff coming in the years to come here from SBU softball.
Well, it's very exciting. It's a very competitive region when it comes to softball, and the fanfare here is terrific. In fact, I believe it was either last year or the year before the NAIA softball championships were held right here in Springfield. So,
Yes, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and the state championships are down there, so I'm thrilled that I only have a 20-minute drive to go to that versus it's the 2 or 3 hours from Jeff City where I was at before. So yeah, very very well known in the area. I've been, a lot of people contacting me, and travel ball organizations. A lot of recruits have reached out. So I'm blessed that I have a nice reputation out there, and so I get really good players presented to me, and that's very refreshing. When I first started in college coaching, I didn't have a bunch of relationships built. I had a good base, but you're kind of driving around just yelling out the car window, who wants to play college softball? And that's tough. So now it's very nice to have people presented to me, and that helps out greatly in recruiting. So I'm back in my home neighborhood here. I mean, state of Missouri, there's wonderful talent. Kansas City's not that far away. St. Louis, even up into Iowa, my home state, Northwest Arkansas, Eastern Oklahoma, Kansas, because I coached at Central Christian College of Kansas, and then the state of Texas is in the scope of things, isn't that far away. A lot of talent down there. Already talking to some players down there, and then even California. We have one young lady on the team from Arizona. So if people really buy into your vision, and it's a good education, it's a safe environment, it's a beautiful area, they will travel and come here. But the majority of our team and future recruits are going to be from probably the 4 or 5 state radius here.
Coach, very intriguing. This is a bit of a loaded question, but I'm curious because when you brought up travel ball, some of the concern we've seen in baseball is that the game is getting away from just going out and playing. Is softball experiencing any of those same difficulties with getting exposure in terms of recruiting, or is it still less than what we're seeing the challenges face baseball with?
They're probably one and the same, Nate. You have people out there that generally care and just try to put on good tournaments and organizations and everything. And then there are, unfortunately, ones out there that are out to make money, and it, it's tough. A lot of recruiting services, a lot of pressure. Baseball, guys, they just kind of wait till the summer before their freshman year in college, and they make a choice on where they're going to go. I was that way. I was more worried about today, not tomorrow, when I was 18. And but young ladies, and they've taken steps to really head off the early recruiting thing. But you got kids as young as 8th grade, verbally committing to these Power 5 Division I schools. So they've taken steps to really kind of push that back, but to their sophomore, junior year before they can make a decision and take visits and all that stuff. But no, there's plenty of places for them to get recruited. It's just they have to let us know where they're going to be. Everything right now is kind of virtual with the travel restrictions and playing and everything. Summer ball is fine, wrapping up, but Missouri's unique where we fall high school ball, so I'm looking forward to getting out to watch the local Bolivar high school team and some of the teams down in Springfield. And no, there's ample places for these young ladies to get recruited. They just have to choose wisely and don't overdo it. Some of these kids are playing 365 days a year. They have to take some time off and be a kid. Go play basketball, play soccer. Don't specialize. That's your only chance to do other stuff.
I think that's music to a lot of folks' ears. Coach, it's been great to get to know you here, and we look forward to meeting you in person. But welcome to the SBU family, and great to have you here in the Southwest Missouri region.
Well, thank you very much. I'll start listening to Jock 987 now that I don't have to do it on a satellite. I'm in the area, and Nate, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and all the folks out there this spring. Please come out and give SBU softball a look. It should be a fun team to watch.
More than welcome. Coach, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll take a break, come back with more 9:54 on a Tuesday on ESPN The Jock.